Hello, welcome to Geeta Kollipara podcast. Today we are having an important conversation about social media, mental health, emotional well-being, and the pressures many people silently experience in today's digital world. Social media has undoubtedly brought many positives: connections, creativity, awareness, learning, and opportunity for people across the world. But at the same time, many people also quietly experience comparison, insecurity, emotional pressure, and loss of inner peace from constantly being exposed to curated lifestyles online. So today's conversation is not about criticizing social media, but about understanding its emotional impact on everyday mental well being and learning how people can use it in a healthier and more mindful way. And today we are grateful to have Danielle Dittberner, owner of Reach for More, certified life and business transformation coach, artist, and an author. Danielle is joining us today to share her insights and guidance on this important topic. Hello, Danielle. I am so glad to have you here on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Geeta. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm honored for being a guest.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Just to begin with, could you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Sure. So I've been coaching for about 10 years now. Um, I used to be in the corporate space, and I was in a space where I had recently gone through a divorce. I was not feeling very um, pulled in a direction where I felt like I was really contributing the way that I needed to. So I was doing a lot of personal and professional development and stumbled across this thing called coaching, and that seemed really interesting. And so I followed that path, that breadcrumb, and went to a coaching certification program in California. And when I was in the program, I had about 5 minutes of an experience that I now know is a precognition. And I knew everything that was about to happen in that room. The way that people would look at one another, the questions that they were asking, the smiles, the laughs, the content that we were talking about. And these were people that I had no idea who they were a day before I met them. And so I knew that that was my life path. And so I began that journey um, and ended up starting my business a few years later. I've been primarily online, but I do in person events as well. And I'm expanding that as we speak.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing about your journey. Just to start with, can we discuss about understanding the emotional impact of social media?
Sure.
It has so many positives, but at the same time, many people experience emotional pressure online. From your perspective, what are some of the biggest struggles people are facing?
Mm. Right now, what I'm really seeing across the board is really this sense of isolation. People have been able to use social media in such a positive way of being able to connect all over the world, really being able to expand their understanding of other cultures, being able to share their own creations, being expressive. Those have been the positives. And in doing that, a lot of times it also brings up a lot of comparison. And that can be an insidious thing when we start to compare ourselves to another person or really anything that's outside of ourselves. And that then can really impact the way that we start to view others as well as our own reality.
Definitely, Daniel, because most of the people seek validation or attention through online presence. Why do
Mhm.
you think that validation through social media has become so emotionally powerful today?
Mm. I think it has a lot to do with our shift in the way that we are relating to one another in real life. Especially since COVID, that created a really big wedge in a lot of relationships, in a lot of the ways that people are able to communicate with one another, as well as just the widespread of technology. The more that we are engaged in technology, again, there's positives to that. It really allows us to expand the way that we're moving in the world. It also creates a disconnect in our ability to really be present with ourselves, which then doesn't allow us to be as present with others. Like if I were to pick up my phone and I'm having a conversation with you, but I've got my phone here, like right now, you don't feel connected with me at all. And so if we're all always getting into that social media space, it's creating a feedback loop where we're having a dependency on it. And when we have that dependency, then we're not able to really be fully autonomous with ourselves. And then when we're not fully autonomous with ourselves, then we're looking externally. We're trying to fill that hole within us with somebody else or with something else. And if we're not having that genuine connection with another person, then we're empty.
I think I agree with you, but there is so much pressure, to appear happy, to appear successfully, and just showcase that they're constantly doing well online, even when they are really suffering inside and struggling internally. Why do you think that is?
I think there's just been a really bad stigma about people really admitting whenever they're not doing okay. Anytime that we're presenting something online, we are putting our best selves forward. Most of the time, I should say. Most of the time, that's what's happening. And I think that starts from the place of wanting to celebrate life, celebrate the wonderful accomplishments that we've had. And it doesn't always hold space for some of the challenges or even the mundane that's in the day to day, because that's not celebrated. That's not what gets the likes. That's not the things that allow the algorithm to really speak. And so there's this pressure then of performance. And if we're not performing, then nobody's going to see us. And if nobody sees us, well, then what does that mean about our own existence? It means that we're not doing enough, that we're not loved, that we're not part of this big, wonderful, beautiful experience of life. And so it creates this feedback loop of I must be performing at a certain way. I must look a certain way. I must be playing the role in a certain way. And I have to be able to show that to other people. Otherwise, I'm not validated. And so it's like this rejection, fear of rejection that plays such a big role. And yet, most of the time, what's happening is we're not really being fully there for ourselves.
Definitely, Daniel. I'm just remembering my social media, how I operate in social media when I was talking to you. So I always love to take pictures. I take both my daughters, they're close in age. I just take the pictures of them standing together, playing together, and everything. And sometimes not naturally because sometimes when they dress beautifully, I just wanted to get the perfect pictures. And for me to get the perfect picture so that I can post in the social media, I go through a lot of stress like, oh, this is not good. This picture is not good. This picture is not good. It takes me 30 or 35 minutes to get one picture right with both the girls. But when I keep the picture on the social media, nobody sees the struggle that I spent 30 minutes, the stress that I have been going through to take this perfect picture, right? So, yeah, I was just relating when we are talking, what am I doing? And I feel like I'm doing the same, not at the level of what we are talking, but still, at some extent, to some extent.
And on the one hand of that, right, it's because you really want this beautiful picture of your girls. You want to be able to showcase how you see them. And sometimes that doesn't happen just in a posed picture. Sometimes those best pictures are those very candid, very caught in the moment because they're just being natural and real. And yeah, it might take 30 shots for that, right? And as the photographer, I mean, I'd love to hear a photographer's perspective on this, but I'm sure they're going through that all the time. Really, like what's the angle? What's the lighting? Am I getting am I even capturing this in the right frame? And that's also something that happens with me whenever I'm looking at my paintings, right? It's composition. So of course that's going to be playing a role in the way that people are creating their social media. And there's also limits and boundaries to that.
Yes, definitely, Dev. So let's talk about the self-worth and emotional health when it comes to social media. Uh, I just wanted to see, know how important is self-worth and inner confidence in protecting mental well-being in the age of social media.
When I think of self-worth, that is something that is, it's innate. We're all born with that. We're all completely worthiness whenever we're born. It isn't until we have experiences in our lives where we've experienced shame that our worth starts to um, diminish. And going back to the more of the influencer, the this is the perfect life that I'm living, when we fall into that trap, that's where it starts to impact our sense of worthiness because there's the comparison. And if we're like, oh, I don't have that house, that car, that job, that those looks, or that sense of success, because success is different for everybody. But if I'm not measuring up to those guideposts, then I'm not enough. And if I'm not enough, then I'm feeling shameful about who I am, what my authentic self is. And that's where that shame will start to really erode who we are and what our sense of worthiness is.
Definitely, definitely, I agree with you, Daniel. I just wanted to see like how can someone begin building healthier self-esteem that isn't dependent on external validation?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. And
Thank you.
I think one of the funnest ones, whenever we can really look at that and go and ask ourselves that, I always look at how did you, whenever you were a child, how did you play?
Back then, there are no external factors. Just go on the street, play, and everybody care about each other. Just carefree.
Yeah, yeah. There's no restraint, right?
Yes, yes.
So if you can go back to that time and channel even that energy and just remember what it felt like in your body, pure joy,
Pure
right?
joy. Yes.
It's more of connecting with that and going, okay, this pure joy that I want, what are the things then that I can be doing, that I can be spending my time on, focusing my energy so that I can be in that space of pureness and doing those activities, finding those things that light you up. That's what creates that sense of worthiness because that's what you're valuing with your time, with your experience. And so, whenever you're really sinking into those values that you have in life and finding those opportunities where you can really use your experience to bring those values to life somehow. That's what allows us to then see parts of ourselves externally. And so then we become the one that validates ourselves by what we're creating. And that in turn creates that worthiness.
Thank you. Beautifully explained. Thank you so much. Let's talk about the relationships and human connection in this age of social media. How do you think the excess social media is affecting real life communications and relationships?
This one's a tricky topic because again, on the one hand, social media allows us to connect to people all over the world. It's one of the actual things I love about social media is I have friends in Europe, in Germany, in England, in Ireland. I have a couple of friends that are in Korea even, and Portugal, that I'm able to stay in contact with. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't be able to have those points of connection. And what's great is, we can have video calls, we can have voice calls, we can leave each other voice notes. So it allows us to still have bits and pieces of that human connection. And then on the flip side, when we sink too much into using our social media, it takes away from our ability to really be present with another person in the same room. Even if we are in the same room, if one person again is stuck on their phone or on their computer, they're not fully present. And when we're not fully present, it's not just that we're not talking or not connecting in that way, but even on a physical level, our energy is not connecting. Our spirit is not connecting. And so that's the negative side that I am seeing with social media and how that's impacting our relationships is we're missing so many opportunities of connection. And we're not able to have those conversations that really build that bond of oxytocin in both of us. And so then we get into the whole neurochemical connections that we're talking about. And in a world that is filled with fear right now, what we really need to be cultivating is more oxytocin in our bodies because that brings the cortisol levels down. And one of the best ways that we do that is through human connection because oxytocin is the bonding hormone. And so if we're not having those connections, we're not having the conversations, we're not having the physical contact with another person, we're not able to cultivate all of those wonderful experiences at the way that we could be.
And cortisol is the stress hormone, right? So with the genuine human connection, the stress levels also will be going down.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Very well explained. Thank you so much for making that awesome connection and explaining to us so that we understand in a better way. Let's talk about boundaries and healthy habits when it comes to social media.
Yeah.
How important are boundaries when it comes to social media and digital consumption?
Boundaries are so important with social media because, again, it is created to keep our attention. And while that's fun at times, sometimes I think we all need a distraction from the stressors in our lives. And it's great to have some entertainment and connect and all the good things, right? And if we are on a phone or on a screen of some sort for hours upon hours upon hours, which many of us do in our work, and then we're doing that in our spare time too, it's creating a lot of strain on our eyes. It's creating a lot of stress in our lives. It's creating more of that addictive kind of cycle. And again, it's getting us on autopilot instead of being more conscious about how we're showing up. That's why it's so important that we have boundaries because it can turn into doom scrolling. It can be a very slippery slope. And so, like anything, I mean, like, I love ice cream. Mm, I could go for ice cream every single day. My body says no to that, though. Like, I can't do ice cream every day. And so, same thing. I'm going to have boundaries so that, yeah, I'm going to enjoy ice cream on occasion, but I'm not going to overindulge in it because that's not good for my cholesterol. That's not good for sugar levels. That's not good for just the overall body functioning. And so, same thing. You can put boundaries as far as time limits. You can put boundaries as far as apps that will automatically shut your phone down or turn the apps off. You can also put your phone in a completely separate room, especially if you're going to bed at night. It's better to not have electronics in the room. And it's more about just how can you create those healthy boundaries that work with your personality, with your way of life, your values.
Definitely, definitely, Daniel. I was hearing a term in social media right now, uh, social media detox.
Mm,
So people will be disabling the Instagram, for example, for these number of days, and they'll be saying like before disabling, I'm going on a social media detox.
mhm.
So I just wanted to know, like, can taking breaks from social media genuinely improve emotional well-being?
Yeah, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. Again, if you take away any kind of habit that you formed, the minute that you take it out, if it was a good habit, you're going to notice heightened stress levels. If it was a not so good habit, you're going to start to experience more peace in your life. So if you want to know the difference between a habit, if it's got a good attachment or a not so good attachment, that's one way that you can do it. And by doing a detox, then that's allowing you to really get more presence in your life, not being automatically, um, picking up your phone every time that it's dinging because it's not going to be dinging anymore. It's not going to be pulling your attention away from what's in the present moment.
I just wanted to cover something about oversharing on social media, you know. The, so this happened in India. One of the ladies showcasing all her jewelry, the real gold jewelry. One day, second day, third day through life. And fourth day, there are some thieves that came onto her home and took all the jewelry. So,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
this is just an example that has some monetary value,
Yeah.
but oversharing kids, oversharing anything,
Yeah.
uh, it's not
Yeah.
really good, right? So, what
Yeah.
do you think about what is your take on oversharing?
Yeah. I think that oversharing has some very drastic health safety concerns, um, especially if you're showing off your house. Anything that is very personal to you and really showcasing that to with no filters. And I'll say not like just photo filters, but filters as you're just sharing your entire life. You're opening your door then to complete strangers all around the world. And in doing that, it's not just inviting them in to maybe do something malicious, hopefully not. You're also giving away so much of your own sacred energy in that. And when you're doing that, then what do you have left for yourself? Not every piece of you as an individual is meant to be shared with the entire world. There are things that are meant for you and you only. And so it's more of being mindful. The things, especially that you hold near and dear to your heart.
Sure. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thanks for sharing that. How can people use social media in a healthier and more mindful way without comparing themselves to others?
So this is more about being intentional with the social media that you're using and how you're using it. Looking at, okay, what is the purpose of this and how do I want to be utilizing it to express myself, to be able to connect with other people? It's really that's the whole function of social media. The self-expression, connection with others, being able to have something that we're able to be with. And so looking at, okay, if I'm going to have an Instagram account for personal purposes, what is it that I'm wanting to speak to? What is the message that I want to be utilizing? How do I want to be expressing that? And doing that, but lightly, not attaching your worth, not attaching validation, because that is not the place for genuine validation. Being able to look at what's the difference that I can make in the community that I'm in right with this. That's the whole purpose of the connection. How can I give back? How can I also find a way of learning from others, expanding my awareness, being able to discern the things that are in alignment and not in alignment with my value system, with my belief system, with the goals that I might have, with what I'm creating in my life. And that's kind of how we wrap those boundaries around things so that we have accurate protection for ourselves. And so that we also know when we're going to be outside of those bounds too. Keep ourselves in check.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Very, 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 very beautifully explained. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing all your valuable insights about social media and how we can use social media in a very mindful way. And if somebody wants to reach you out regarding coaching, what is the best way to connect with you?
I would say the best way is to send me an email. It's Danielle, Danielle, at reach the number 4 more.com.
I'll definitely include all your details in the description, your email and everything, so that our audience can reach you out. Social media is a powerful part of modern life, and while it offers many benefits, it's equally important for people to protect their emotional well being, avoid unhealthy comparisons, and focus on inner peace rather than external validation. We hope today's conversation encourages more open discussions around mental health and helps listeners to build healthier relationship with social media and bring one step closer to harmony and happiness. On that note, thank you so much, and I'm signing off. Geeta, namaskaram.